Good morning. We
Good
have a
morning.
quorum, and so at this time, we'll call to order the City of St. Louis Port Authority for its regularly scheduled meeting held April 9, 2026 at 9 a.m. May we have a roll call, please?
Sure. Alderman Cone,
Present.
Commissioner Jackson,
Present.
Commissioner Kay,
Present.
Commissioner Liddy,
Here.
Commissioner Mason,
Present.
Commissioner Miller,
Present.
Chairman McBride.
No. The next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes for a meeting held on March 12, 2026. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Alderman Cone,
Aye.
Commissioner Jackson,
Aye.
Commissioner Kay,
Aye.
Commissioner Liddy,
Aye.
Commissioner Mason,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Chairman McBride.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. At this time, we'll take up the public hearing for the creation of the City of St. Louis Port Improvement District Number 2. Susan Taylor and James Morrow, are you going to walk us through that, please?
Sure. This is James Morrow, counsel for the Port Authority. This week, this meeting, as with last meeting, we have a resolution up to authorize the creation of a port improvement district. This one surrounds the Jefferson Arms project located downtown. Along with the resolution, we are reopening the public hearing to give members of the public an opportunity to express their views on the project and on the district. I believe that we have one member of the public who registered in advance. I do ask that in the interest of time, members of the public who wish to speak keep their comments to 3 minutes, please.
Thank you. And just to follow up on that, James, and then as far as the commissioners, we will take that up in the resolution immediately following this public hearing. That'll be resolution number 26 PT 14. Is Mr. Conley admitted into the live session yet?
Mr. Conley, you can unmute yourself.
I think we have to pull him over. I don't see him in the panelist portion of the Zoom. Am I missing something? I think we have to move him to the panelist.
Can you hear me okay?
Oh, now we can. Thank you, Mr. Connolly. You may proceed.
Thanks very much for the opportunity to testify. I've spoken before on this at the prior hearing. I would have appreciated a more detailed explanation. I've read the resolution, but I think the public deserves a more clearer explanation as to why we're doing this again and why there was a vote held the first time when there was a recognition that the district shouldn't apply to the apartments in the building. Regarding the district itself, I would urge commissioners to vote against it. I appreciate the fact that 3 of you did so at the prior hearing. I believe that the TIF assistance and the more recent community improvement district that was approved by the Board of Aldermen and Mayor in 2025 provide sufficient revenue, and that we shouldn't have another public body created to levy yet more taxes, with the possibility of sales taxes going up significantly at this, locally. Should the income tax be eliminated, the state of Missouri, we will probably have one of the most exorbitantly high tax rates for hotels in the region, possibly in the nation. And the notification process for this, I'm glad that this hearing notice was posted on the website. However, I believe that was only done after I sent in a sunshine request that cited an executive order from Mayor Cruzen back in 2018 that specified that any city body should have its meeting notices posted on the website. The last time we had a hearing, I believe the hearing notice wasn't posted on the website, and even the agenda didn't even say there was a public hearing going on. So I think those are transparency issues. I hope the board can overcome that. And once again, I urge commissioners to vote no on the creation of this district. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Connolly. Are there any other members of the public who are speaking on this issue? Susan or James, are there any other members of the public who are speaking on this issue?
None that have registered in advance, and I do not see anyone raising their hand indicating a desire to speak.
Very good. We'll give them a moment to so adjust if they wish.
Chairman Wright, I'm not sure if this would be the time for the development team to speak or if you have other questions, but we're happy to speak on the project.
Great. We'll take that up at the resolution portion here in just a moment.
Thank you.
I see no hands up in the public attendance. So, Mr. Morrow, I believe at this point we close the public hearing. Is that correct?
Correct. We can close the public hearing and advance to presentation of the resolution authorizing the creation of the district.
Thank you. At this time, we'll take up Resolution 26 PT 14, resolution approving petition for the formation of City of St. Louis Port Improvement District Number 2. I believe that Susan Taylor is going to walk us through that.
Good morning, everyone. As you can see from the picture, the Jefferson Arms is a nice old building that's being rehabbed. It's on the corner of Tucker and Locust. And here to address the commission, if they would like to hear more, is Kevin Hertzler. So Kevin.
Absolutely. Kevin, would you give us some context as to where we were and where we're headed?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Nick Hartzler. I'm a senior project manager with Steadfast City. I'm joined this morning by Mike Saramsaki, the CEO of Altera Worldwide. He's in the room with me in St. Louis. Our office is down on Cherokee Street at Cherokee and Jefferson. If possible, I've got a very brief slide deck I'd like to walk through before we're happy to address any questions from the commission.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Hartzler. That'd be fine.
So, just to, as Ms. Taylor, initiated this discussion, what we're talking about today is an amendment to the petition for the formation of the City of St. Louis Port Improvement District Number 2, which will help support the redevelopment of the Jefferson Arms project at Locust and Tucker. Just a bit of a to level set what this project is. This is a historic renovation of a roughly half a million square foot building that has sat largely vacant since the mid 2000s. I believe it was vacated in 2006, 2007, and it has for being such a historic a piece of architecture and property, it was on a very prominent corner in the heart of downtown, and just causing lots of issues before the Altera team came in with their vision. And so what is proposed and what they've been working on is to convert the building, rehab it into a mixed-use development that will result in a 225-room AC Marriott hotel. It'll also have 235 units of market-rate apartments and just nearly 30,000 square feet of ground floor retail space. In addition, what's not shown on this is it'll also have what we believe to be the largest historic ballroom in the state of Missouri, and so really they're targeting that type of event space to be able to be drawn downtown to support the region and the downtown activation. Part of the overall project also involves the rehab of the attached 200 space parking garage that'll serve the apartments. This project has been going on for a very long time. They acquired the building in 2017. At that time, they entered into a redevelopment agreement with the city of St. Louis for what was believed to be a total project cost of about $105 million. As they lined up their financing, the pandemic happened in 2020, which severely delayed the project. Along with that, it severely increased the overall project cost. But in working with the city to amend the redevelopment agreements, that way they could still make sure that this project gets completed. That the redevelopment agreement was amended in 2021, and they began construction on it in November of 2022. Now, for those who may have forgotten what this building used to look like, it was an eyesore. It was in rough shape. These pictures are from 2017 when they acquired the building. You can see the facade on the front, on the external of the building that's looking from the intersection of Tucker and Locust. At one point in time, a prior owner had clad the ground floor in this black granite type tile that just didn't really fit with the overall aesthetics of the building. It was run down. You can see from inside that there were many break-in problems. The basement flooded numerous times. And you can kind of see just the conditions of what it used to be. So this is a massive project, a massive undertaking, but they set out, to undertake it. Now, as I noted, the original project costs were $105 million, but as from 2017 to 2026, the overall project costs have gone up substantially between the cost of labor, materials. They experienced some headwinds from the tariffs that were imposed last year, as well as just the financing challenges. So the overall project went up 35%, and really a lot of that has been tied into the financing cost for this project. So our firm was brought on to help identify tools that can be used to support the long-term viability of this project, making sure that it doesn't go back to being a vacant property, despite all the work that's been put into it. And one of the tools that we sought and are seeking to help support this project is the Port Improvement District. How this project fits in within the Port Improvement District is that the state law allows for a PID to be used to help repair, rehabilitate, or reconstruct any existing public or private building that is deemed to significant in or furtherance of the history, as deemed by the United States, state of Missouri, or the political subdivisions. This building was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 2003 and confirms its status in satisfying that piece of the state law. Now, this petition was brought and resolution was brought to this commission in September of 2025, and at that time, it did include within its geography the hotel, the retail, and the apartments. There was discussion at that time as to whether or not the sales tax that would be imposed from this district would apply to remote sales made by the residents of the apartments. What this petition now, what the resolution that's before you does, is it makes it absolutely clear that this sales tax will not apply to the residents that live in the apartment building. So the only way that they would be paying this sales tax is if they choose to patronize any of the retail establishments that are contained within the district and within the building. And this is accomplished because the building was already subdivided and condoized into separate parcels. So the residential portion of the building is condoized into its separate parcel, and the hotel and retail is condoized into its separate parcels. So therefore, that's the mechanism by which it is being separated. And just to kind of give you an idea, this shows you a bit of the layout of the building, with the green space being the residential portion of the building, the red space being the hotels, and the purple space found on the screen is the retail. So this is how the building is divided, and this is how the separation, so that way the tax does not apply to the residents, is enacted. And just this is what the goal is. The goal is to bring a landmark piece to the heart of downtown. And we don't believe that this can be accomplished, that this can be sustained without this sales tax. Without this sales tax, the financing and capital stack of this project comes into question, and the long-term viability of the project is put into question. So with that, I promise to be short, so I appreciate it. Mike and I are here to answer any questions from the commission. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Hartler. Susan, are there any other presenters on this resolution?
We do have Mark Spikerman, who is special counsel to the Port Authority. If the commission has any questions over some of the procedural aspects of the district or the purpose of bringing this resolution back to the commission for review.
Yeah, Mr. Sparkman, if you could just give us a brief overview of the purpose.
Yeah, I think Mr. Hartzler actually did a very accurate and excellent job. The overriding purpose here is to remove all doubt as to whether the sales tax would apply to any of the residential apartments. That is accomplished by limiting the boundaries of the district to the condo for the hotel and the condo for the retail. There's a recorded condominium plat that we have a legal description of, and so we were able to use that to draw the boundaries accordingly. If the commission approves moving forward, we would then file the petition to create the PID with the circuit court and proceed under the processes in the Port Act for creating the district.
And just to clarify that process was not initiated after a vote on this in September of 2025, correct?
Correct.
Very good. Any questions from the commissioners? Let's start with Mr. Sparkman since he's still up. Any questions from the commissioners for Mr. Sparkman? All right, Mark, if you just stick around still in case something does come up. Any questions for the commissioners on Mr. Hartzler or Mr. Cernzaki? Commissioner Liddy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a quick question. I noticed you mentioned, I think there's 200 parking spots, but you're going to have 225 hotel rooms, apartments, and 235 hotel spots. Where's everybody going to park? Because there's not enough parking spots for all the visitors.
So thank you. Part of the short-term solution for this is to they have under contract additional spaces in the parking garage at the Park Pacific. The hotel will use valet parking, but that's that way. And the valet drop off, is set to be on Locust, so wouldn't be on Tucker, so it's not interfering with the new bike lanes that are currently being installed. In addition, they have plans to pursue other parking garages and redevelopment of other parking garages that are nearby. Those plans are underway, so it'd be a little early to say where or what, but there are additional parking solutions being pursued.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the commissioners?
I have a question. This is to
Mr. Mason?
Mr. Hartzler. Recently, there's been a lot of negative press about your organization, particularly with union disputes. There was an article about that there were some liens against some of your properties and that was there. How do you respond to all of that? And how do you respond to the negative press that you have been receiving?
Thank you, Commissioner, for the question. If you read the article, they are discussing the old historic events. We don't have anything coming, the new stuff. So if you're specifically talking about the San Luis Business Journal article, they are specifically talking about what happened prior to us starting construction. And all those issues have been resolved, Commissioner.
Any other questions? Any other questions or follow-up, Commissioner Mason?
No. No, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions from the commissioners?
Mr. Chair.
Alderman Cohen.
Thank you. I'm still, struggling with this. I'm not opposed to, port improvement districts. I mentioned this previously. I was one of the aldermanic sponsors to expand the port, authority boundaries in the city of St. Louis, especially so that we can use the various incentives that are afforded to the Port Authority and various development projects. Where I'm still struggling with this is, the but-for test that we should be using for offering incentives to projects. And, this is the second, to my knowledge or recollection, the second time that we've had this conversation around this particular project in the past few months. And, I believe, if I recall correctly, the last time, we were moving fairly close to completion on this project. And so I'm hoping that someone can illuminate, for that close to completion on the project, why are we coming back now for additional incentives?
So I'd say kind of two elements to that. One, there's being close to completion. There's the short term timeline of this project, which is and Mike can speak more to this, but over the course of the past year, there were elements of the building that were uncovered that were unknown prior to construction, really unknown at the time of acquisition, that were deemed historic. There was in the ballroom took a lot more time to restore than was originally budgeted and scoped out. And in the corner, the northeast corner retail portion of the building is this large space that, when they acquired the building and began construction, it had a drop ceiling of it's a very sturdy material. And in the process of removing that, they uncovered incredibly ornate plaster in the ceiling. And because this project is utilizing historic tax credits, they had to work with the State Historic Preservation Office to come up with what is the plan for restoring this process. And just that one room in uncovering that plaster added an extra $1.5 million in unexpected costs to the project to restore that. It also added time to the project. So that's kind of helping address the short term of, how do we get from September to today?
I can elaborate that. Well, first of all, I wanted to thank all the commissioners here, and I admire what you all do. Thank you for all your time. As a matter of fact, my son, John Michael, he goes to UC Berkeley now, and he became a commissioner at City of Berkeley, which I'm very proud of. And I really appreciate what you all do. When we go back to Jefferson Arms building, it's such a monumental project. It's hard for us to describe what we're doing and some of the challenges we're facing. But I'd love for the commissioner and the alderman to come and visit us. Our doors are always open. When you come into the project, you understand the magnitude of the undertaking we're doing right there. And you will see the challenges that we're facing and how close we are to opening the building. It's hard for us to elaborate and give you guys some of the challenges we're facing and how close we are getting it done. So hopefully we'll have you guys come soon as we're getting ready to opening the project, so you could see what kind of project and the magnitude of the undertaking we had done. It's 550,000 square foot. It's a big building. And it took us about 1 year and 3 months just to clean the building of asbestos and lead. So when we talk about our whole construction schedule, we tend to miss the fact that we spent 1 year, 3 months just to clean the inside of the building of asbestos and lead. And the amount of time that we spend in fixing those historic sites, historic details, that's not something that we had bargained for, but luckily we completed. And if you had a chance to come and visit our historic lobby and our historic ballroom, you'll appreciate what we had accomplished. And we're getting visitors a lot from the community and also from our friends at the City Hall. And I think they could attest to the undertaking that we had done and what we had accomplished. We pour our own money and our lenders' money into the community. It is the largest historic renovation in downtown St. Louis. We're very happy. We're thrilled to have the door open by June. That's when we're starting to getting our certificate of occupancy. So I think I leave it at that.
Yeah, no, I mean, let me be clear. I'm really appreciative of folks that want to, take the time and invest their, energy, treasure, et cetera, in our city. And, certainly rehabbing historic buildings such as the Jefferson Arms is really important. As an older person, and chair of the Transportation and Commerce Committee, I have the pleasure of serving on this, body as well. But at the, Board of Aldermen, I also sit on the Housing, Urban Development and Zoning Committee. So I often see these matters before this commission at that legislative body as well. And I have been pretty clear, I very much support development. I want to see development happen downtown. There's a lot of different projects that need, public support in order to get done. I've always believed that this is one of them. But when we're offering these public incentives to developers, there should be that but-for test. And what I am really still struggling with is I'm hearing that there's been cost overruns, delays in timing, tariffs. I understand the kind of macro picture of what you all are dealing with, but what I'm still struggling to understand here is why are we now having this discussion instead of, as you were experiencing those cost overruns and, turbulent times coming before us then, instead of, if the ballroom was, exposed and then you found all of this historic plaster, why didn't we have that discussion before you started the work to restore the ballroom? Now the ballroom is restored and you're saying, oh, well, now we have all these additional costs and we need to, revisit our incentive package. Well, but you already had the money to restore the ballroom. So why do you need the incentives now? If you weren't going to be able to install, do the ballroom, you should have come to us before you did the work to initiate this incentive package.
Thank you for the question, Alderman Shane. So we actually started the process quite a while back. Now, you might know this, we haven't made the announcement also, but we are pursuing some retailers for the ground floor. And the ground floor retail, we're getting about 3 different retails. We have a wedding bridal business coming in. We have a custom tailor shop coming in. We have the bakery and coffee shop coming in. And they're actually visiting us in the month of May. So for this to take place and for me to line up a big component of this is actually all the different ballroom venues we have. We don't only have one ballroom. We have about 3 of them. And we had communicated and coordinated the cost overruns and issues with our team Steadfast, and they've been working on this package for almost, has it been a year, Nick?
Yeah, and that's I think we began this discussion about the PID with the SLDC team in April of 2025, which that's when this conversation really
tried to react as fast as we could, as with the processes and procedures we have in the city. It takes a while to get in front of you, all the commissioners, and this is the process. And I do understand, we have several commissioners that's going to vote on it, and it's good that we're having this discussion. But I can't have those retailers come in without having a beautiful ballroom, and I cannot have people booking weddings without fixing those ballrooms. I cannot not fix the ballroom at a certain level where I'm gonna get a denial from SHPO, from National Park Services. So all these things are related to each other, Alderman. I wish I had the crystal ball before I start the project and then figure out some of these challenges we have faced once we start opening the ceilings. But when SHPO walks in and then asks us to fix a something that's very important to them, it's really hard for us to say no to SHPO because we're jeopardizing our historic tax credits on the larger scale. So that's why we have to have a good relationship with our friends at the SHPO. We are one of the exemplary developers actually in the state of Missouri, where we have 12 amendments explaining to them every step of the way the changes that we're facing, the conditions that we're facing. Now, what that does to us is that we have a great relationship with the SHPO, and as we're gearing up to tackle other downtown projects, we have a good relationship with these folks. But I can't, unfortunately, this building had many challenges, but the good thing is we're moving forward and we're getting ready to open up the building. I hope you visit us, Alderman Shane. We're really looking forward to all the commissioners to visit us maybe in the next month. We'll be more than happy to show you what we had done. So you will appreciate and hopefully get a better context of what it takes to get a job like this done. This is about $145 million when everything is said and done. And we're really lucky we have a lender that's willing to work with us where when we go back and show them the issues and challenges we're having, they're giving us flexibility of going to the market. And we're late, but they are patient. So they are also a partner in the development of Jefferson Arms building in downtown St. Louis. They are a believer in that. And I wish we could have done it earlier, come to you earlier for our challenge and the PID district. But this is the process. We came before. Nick accommodated and made some changes, and here we are again in front of you.
I appreciate that. I certainly would take you up on that offer. I actually do follow the Jefferson Arms building on Instagram, I believe, or at least the videos have popped up in my feed from time to time. So I have been kind of following along with the project, but always, happy to go take a tour. But I'm still not feeling like I'm getting an answer to my question here. So I get that, Nick, you said that you all put the application in last April. This project has been going on for years now, in my mind, not just this past year. When did you all get the letter from SHPO or from, the State Historic Preservation Office about needing these improvements that would otherwise jeopardize the tax credits?
It's not a letter, Alderman Chen. It's a verbal communication.
Okay. When did you get the verbal communication?
This project has not been going on for years. We bought the building in 2017. We started the construction in 2022 November. It took us a year, 3 months to clean the building. So my construction of the building really started in 2024 January, and I'm on 2026. So it's a miracle speed what we're doing. So let's put everything into context. The building was purchased in 2017, but we started construction, the real construction, after we clean up the building in 2024 January.
So that's then to kind of keep that going then from construction beginning, in January 24 to then coming before the SLDC for this in April 25. That it might that certainly it's up for opinions, but that's a pretty short turnaround between beginning construction to then coming to the city to ask for this tool.
Okay. And would that have been Mr. Morrow, Susan, Zach Wilson, who?
I believe it was, we met with Rob and Zach Wilson and as we just tried to talk through what tools could be put in place to how to secure the long-term financing for this project.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Alderman, I think there were at least two most recent meetings that they're unable to present at as well, as according to my memory, which is fallible these days.
Right, Commissioner Matthew, I was actually in Istanbul, Turkey. I have parents that are getting older, and I wanted to be in person. And actually, yesterday was my birthday, and I wasn't joking. I said, "Is there a meeting in person?" Because I want to celebrate my birthday with you all. I hope it's appropriate. But I flew from Istanbul Tuesday night to be with you guys today, because we take this process very seriously, and I wanted to also be in person in the meeting with you all. So that's why I'm here today.
Thank you. Commissioner Liddy has patiently had his hand up. Oh, Commissioner Alderman Cohen, you completed. I'm sorry.
I was just one last question. Well, first of all, happy birthday. Hope you had a wonderful day.
Thank you.
And thank you for accommodating us today. You mentioned that, your lenders have been very accommodating with you. Who are you working with in terms of lending on the project?
It's Enhance.
I'm sorry.
We have two big partners, Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett, and basically his side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have another lender called Enhance.
Enhanced, like ENHANCED.
Okay.
And luckily, Alderman Shane, they are willing to continue with us tackling other, buildings in San Luis with us, because we like to do more projects here.
Wonderful. And so in terms of getting a tour scheduled, would I just reach out with Nick, or, do you want to share your number?
Yeah, I'll actually provide my number to Nick.
Yeah, I'll send you Mike's number.
Yeah, and for
Great.
that, if any other commissioner want to join, we love to have you guys come and visit us.
Sounds good. I will reach out to you after the meeting, Nick.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Alderman. And Commissioner Liddy had his hand up, and I want to recognize him and his patience.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and happy birthday to you. If you recall, maybe about a month ago, we had a tour of the soccer stadium, which I found very helpful and illuminating with their PID. I'm wondering if the commission should schedule a tour of the Jefferson Arms for everybody, so we don't have 10 different people coming at 10 different times, but all going at once and getting a good tour of it. And just kind of throw that to the staff to think that'd be a good idea to do like we did for the soccer stadium.
This Susan, we can work with Mr. Hartzler, Nick, and get back to the commission and schedule a tour if they would like to do that.
I'd like to, because it's only a block from my office and I look at it every day as I come and go from the office. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Kay?
My issues with this are more macro, but let's go over kind of the incentives that you have qualified for, because this feels like a sort of has the connotation that we're depriving or potentially depriving the project of some things. So Mr. Hartzler, you already mentioned the historic tax credits that were granted, correct?
That's correct.
Can you update us on the CID? That's the Community Improvement District, which comes with a sales tax. I know there was some back and forth on that in the fall.
There is a community improvement district with a 1% sales tax and a $5 special assessment per room night. The sales tax will be just that. It'll just be. It is not a use tax, it's that use tax that would apply to residential. But it is only a sales tax on the retail and the hotel.
Right. So that is now would be in effect should a retail establishment open soon?
It's not currently in effect, there's a timing process with the Department of Revenue where once you file for the sales tax, it goes to it's in effect in the next quarter. And so the Community Improvement District Board has not met yet and authorized on and enacted that tax. Once that occurs, that is the timing for that. So it'll takes place the following quarter after the district board meets.
Okay. And then TIF financing, the project qualified for that quite a bit back.
That's correct. There is a tax increment financing on the project, and we're working with the St. Louis Development Corporation Board to comply with all of the compliance requirements in order to issue the note for that.
Okay. And then finally, a TDD. Do you have that?
There is also a TDD in place with 1% sales tax that'll fund the transportation projects associated with the project.
Okay. So that, in my view, that's incredibly generous. Not every project in the city of St. Louis qualifies for all of that. You know, we've built Ballpark Village. We've done other things without PIDs. Whether people are for or against that, you know, that was somewhat controversial at the time. So, you know, as from a macro level, an additional sales tax of 1 cent, you know, as I stated in October and September, you know, makes this the largest sales tax in the state of Missouri. That is now verified. You know, I don't have time to look at all the sales taxes of all the districts, you know, in the entire US, but I could only find one in Chicago that was 10.25 at the highest. This project, if the PID was accepted, would be 11.679, which is, you know, we'll round up to 12%. That's an expensive wedding dress or whatever other businesses you've mentioned. There was an article, as if I needed the help to make this case, there was an article just last week in NPR, and let me read you the headline. St. Louis is dead last in population gains among the largest growing metro areas in the US. This is because of multiple reasons. We all know what some of those are, but an ill-advised tax policy is one of those. And, you know, the people got a chance to speak on Tuesday about the earnings tax. And, you know, they spoke loudly as they often do. But these are incentives. These are policies that are driving people away and making us have a headline like that, dead last in population gains. So back to the project, you know, PID number 2, if approved by this group, and I don't know if anybody on the Port Commission, you know, has an economics degree. I don't. I'm not even certain that we're qualified to talk about, you know, we talk about this for 30 minutes occasionally here. We did it for 30 minutes in September. We did it for 30 minutes in October. This is a big decision. Do we really want the largest sales tax to be wrapped around a building of nearly 12%? Would there be a PID number 3 that would come along soon after? Are we teaching developers that in order to have a successful project that they need TIF, TDD, a SID, historic tax credits, and now PID? You know, we're knocking down the old millennium. Are those folks going to come to us for a PID? When will it end? The public pays these taxes, and I'm pretty sure these businesses are not going to have a sign on the door that says you are about to pay 11.679. So the argument that people are, you know, it's kind of up to them, they're choosing where to spend money, they're really not going to know until, you know, the end of the transaction. I was glad that we put down the use tax, which saved all the folks that are going to be in these apartments from every Amazon box costing them nearly 12%. So thank you for clarifying all that and Mr. Spikerman's work on that. Anyway, that is why my vote is a resounding no. I encourage my fellow commissioners to understand that we as a city have been extremely generous to this project with a TIF, a TDD, a SID, historic tax credits, and now potentially this, which I'm very opposed to.
Okay.
So thank you for the time.
Bill, I'd like to ask you a question. You just quoted an article saying that St. Louis metropolitan area is dead last. However, how many taxing districts are in the St. Louis metropolitan area? Because that includes St. Louis City, County, and even counties in Illinois. Can you clarify that, please?
How many taxing districts?
Right. Well, you said you quoted an article saying St. Louis was dead last in
Population.
Population.
Right. Okay. So, and then you related that to taxes.
I said there was a multitude of reasons. We know what many of those are, but increasing taxes is certainly one of those.
It could be a factor, not the deciding factor.
Right.
You
I
know, when
said
you
one of them.
saying things about the St. Louis region, that includes Illinois, St. Louis City, and St. Louis County, and even Jefferson County, St. Charles County.
Right. There's a lovely database online from the Missouri Department of Revenue, and you put in an address and it tells you what the tax rate is at that address. All throughout the St. Louis County area, it's under 10%. In some places that are unincorporated St. Louis County, it falls to 7.4, I think. You know, because there's not a Maryland Heights or a Bridgeton, you know, taxing a little bit above the 7.4, which is, you know, the basic bottom state sales tax. So, you know, there's a lot of attractive areas out there to do your shopping, and we're making it harder for this project to succeed, even though the folks at Alterra may not agree with that. We are wrapping a noose around these businesses at these retail levels with 11.679, and we're, you know, it's not a feature, it's a bug.
And Judge Miller, I wanted to add with that article, it compared cities to cities, not metropolitan areas. It was a direct correlation between various cities that they used in the article to match.
Well, the only other city that's similar to St. Louis in the United States is Baltimore, Maryland, being a city and the county.
Well, they said they used 50 largest cities around in the United States, and they also included Los Angeles, San Diego, and Miami.
Right, but those taxing districts are quite different. Like I said, the only one that's a city and a county in the United States besides St. Louis is Baltimore. So unless there's a direct, you know, Baltimore, it's not saying, well, St. Louis compared to Chicago, because Chicago sits in Cook County. And St. Louis sits in city of St. Louis County. So, you know, those would be, in my opinion, false correlations, since this is one county. And St. Louis County, Jefferson County, St. Charles, etc., Lincoln County.
And they were talking
those aren't even figuring in.
Let Commissioner Miller finish, please.
Oh, sorry.
That's basically, if you're looking at a region versus a city, which is also a county, there's only one that's similar, and that's Baltimore. I'm finished.
Thank you, Commissioner Miller. Commissioner Mason, did you?
Well, I think they were talking about growth. I didn't read an article where they were comparing counties. They were talking about I guess city areas that matched what that have a certain correlation to St. Louis. And the way I understood it, it was growth. But so what they were saying was that St. Louis is dead last in terms of growth.
Right.
Actually, they were hemorrhaging more residents than they were growing, and they even said that there were more deaths in St. Louis City than there were births. So,
and what state policies affected those statistics, I wonder?
Yeah, I didn't read that in the article.
It's not just the city of St. Louis. It's, you know, St. Louis for many years said, being the center of the country, you know, we can grow by being geographically preferable. However, it takes a whole lot more than geography to grow. And I would tell you that I think a lot of that is also what comes out of Jefferson City. But that's going far afield of what the issue is at hand. And I think we are probably ready for a vote at this point.
Do want to make sure that every commissioner gets an opportunity to have any questions asked, but from my view, the General Assembly has tasked the Port Authority with the ability to vote on port improvement districts and others, but we are going a little far afield with full economic policy. I appreciate everyone's comprehensive and holistic viewpoint, of course, but the task in front of us is the port improvement district question. Are there any other questions? I think Commissioner Liddy has raised his hand.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To the developers, if this does not pass for whatever reason, does this put Jefferson Arms in jeopardy in any fashion whatsoever?
My goodness.
Yes, it does. It risks the overall project financing. It puts that into jeopardy, where you don't see a long-term sustainable, paying off the loans and paying the investors that have put their capital into this project. That's what puts this project at risk.
So, okay, I get that point, but if it does not pass, will you just stop altogether and just vote up and leave, or what? I mean,
the construction wouldn't stop. Construction would continue, but the project would be put into jeopardy of being able to, it would be put severely at risk of defaulting on its commitments.
Can I allow?
Please, yeah.
Commissioner Liddy, I think, unfortunately, the financing, the overall financing right now, it's gotten even more challenging than before. With the uncertain times that we are experiencing at the moment, we were expecting the rates to go down, but they might go up. So this is definitely going to be a big help for us, Commissioner Liddy.
okay, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah. I think we've let everyone weigh in. And so unless I have missed a raised hand, at this time, I'll call for a vote on, entertain a motion for approval of resolution 26 PT 14.
So moved.
Second.
And properly moved and seconded. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Alderman Cone,
Aye.
Commissioner Jackson,
Aye.
Commissioner Kay,
No.
Commissioner Liddy,
Aye.
Commissioner Mason,
No.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Chairman McBride.
And the motion passes with the majority voting in favor. Thank you, and good luck on the project, Mr. Sharmsaki and Nick.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We hope to see you visiting us soon, and we'll coordinate the effort.
Good. All right, now we'll turn to resolution PT 26 PT 15 relating to a recommendation to BPS for a permit to U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Susan?
This is another request for the Army Corps to continue to sample soil. The Mallinckrodt Chemical Works was involved in World War II's bomb manufacturing, and the Those parcels are in our North Riverfront. They're close to Malincrot. Malincrot was on Destrehan, which is the purplish pinkish parcel. And so the past explorations by the Corps have yielded nothing, but they need to continue to sample looking for contaminants. So this is a request to recommend for us to recommend to BPS to give them a permit to come onto city property to do their soil sampling.
Thank you, Susan. Remind me, how many years has the Army Corps been performing this soil sampling?
I think it's the 3rd or 4th year.
Okay, 3rd or 4th. Well, very good, and I'm heartened that they are continuing to turn up nothing. Because then it'd get a lot more complicated the next step. Any questions for Susan on this resolution? They seem to come in front of us once a year as they continue to test at the riverfront, so I expect that they'll be back in front of us next year. If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion for approval of resolution 26 PT 15.
So moved.
With previous roll call.
Second.
I'm going to object to previous roll, and we'll have a roll call vote.
Alderman Poe,
Aye.
Commissioner Jackson,
Aye.
Commissioner Kay,
Aye.
Commissioner Liddy,
Aye.
Commissioner Mason,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Chairman McBride.
And a unanimous vote in favor of resolution 26 PT 15. And then we'll take up resolution 26 PT 16, stating intent of the City of St. Louis Port Authority to issue taxable industrial revenue bonds for the Winland Foods project. Susan, you can walk us through that, please?
Yes, what you're seeing is a picture on our South Riverfront of an existing pasta plant. The tower in the upper right is the Adel Grani, now Richardson Foods grain elevators. And the river is just up in the top right corner of the picture. And Winland Foods desires to move into that building, expand it, improve it, upgrade it. And to give you further information about that, Steve Davis is here with SLDC. Would the commission like to hear from him?
Yeah, and actually we have Todd Barron who's representing the company here, who can provide a little more detail on this project. So Todd, if you're available to come off mute here.
Yeah, is everyone able to hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, great. Hey, thank you for taking the time to hear us out on this resolution and also to partner with Winland Foods on this project. This is by way of general description. Winland Foods was formed in 2022 when it was divested out of a former company called Treehouse Foods that you may have heard of in the past. They're a private label and brand maker of various food products, including pasta, which we'll talk about a little bit here in a second at this plant. But they also do jams and jellies and syrups and all sorts of other products under brands you may have heard of, like Prince and San Giorgio, as well as a lot of private label for Walmart, Aldi, stores like that. I just was on a tour a few weeks ago of their plant in Louisville, so I would suggest if you ever want to take a tour, do it after lunch. They made chocolate syrup there, and it made me hungry as I was touring the plant. But anyways, they do a lot of different products. The St. Louis plant here, though, focuses on pasta, and they employ about 105 people currently. And we have with us today Bob Chapin, who I thought could maybe explain a little bit better. He has been at the plant for quite a while in a plant management role, but he could explain a little bit about the project, and then we'll conclude that. Bob, are you able to pop in?
Yeah, absolutely. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I also would like to thank the board for considering the project and for the partnership that we can have going forward. A little bit of background. My name is Bob Chapin. I'm the plant manager here at the facility. I've been with the company for over 30 years, all 30 years in the South City location. A little bit of history about the plant. We do make dried pasta products here. what you'd see on the grocery store shelves. We make the traditional cuts: spaghetti, vermicelli, fettuccine, in the long goods area, and shortcuts: rigatoni, rotini, shells, elbows. And we also make noodles here at the facility. To give you a little bit of background, as Todd mentioned, we were acquired by Winland Foods in 2022. After that acquisition, there was a rationalization project that the company went through. At that point, the facility was slated for closure. That announcement was made. The great news is, right, about 10 weeks into that announcement, the company reversed their decision. The facility stayed open, and not only did we stay open, but we are looking for substantial investment and expansion of the plant. The project that we're currently proposing, we're adding a new processing line. What we do is we take flour and water, we combine that, we run that through a dye, we dry that down to 12%, which is what you'd see on the grocery store shelves. The proposal is we will be making jumbo shells in manicotti, more of your specialty cuts as compared to the more traditional cuts that I described earlier. The project itself is about $38.5 million. That is for the equipment and the installation of that equipment. And as a result, we will add approximately 25 new jobs at the plant, all of which are either skilled or semi-skilled. So some good jobs coming to the South City area. Our current plan is for that press to become operational in October, November. So we're Q4 of this year. And we are super excited, right, to not only have the plant continue in operation, but also to have substantial investment in the addition of new jobs at the facility.
Thanks, Bob.
Before we depart, how many jobs will that give us total at the facility?
About 130 to 135.
Thank you. Mr. Barron?
Yeah, and then just again wanted to thank you all for your consideration, and we just asked for approval of this resolution.
Thank you. I'm going to assume Mr. Sparkerman has something to add to this.
Thank you, Chairman McBride. Yeah, this the procedure we use for this type of incentive through the port is we have an inducement resolution, which is before you now, stating the port's intent to do the transaction. Then we go over to the Board of Aldermen. We get a resolution from the Board of Aldermen that they agree with the incentive as well. And then we come back to the port for a second meeting in which we approve the final transaction documents. So we would expect to be back in May or June, depending on how quickly we get through the Board of Aldermen.
Good. Any questions from the commissioners? Let's start with any questions from the commissioners for Mr. Sparkerman on this process on the taxable industrial revenue bonds. All right. Mark, you're off the hook for now. Any questions from the commissioners to the Winland Foods team on what they're doing with the plant and what this pertains to? Alderman Cohn,
Thank you. For those that might not be familiar with the taxable and industrial bonds, can you all just explain who's paying the debt on the bonds?
Sure, Chairman McBride, I'm happy to take that if you like.
Please do.
Yeah, these bonds are very similar to what's often referred to as Chapter 100 bonds when they go through the city's Board of Aldermen directly. They are not bonds that the city is on the hook for. There are no public tax dollars going to pay these. The bonds really exist only on paper. They facilitate a personal property tax abatement. In this case, that's 10 years at 80% personal property abatement. There, like I said earlier, there is not there is no public entity that is on the hook for these. When they actually get paid off, it's really a paper transaction in which the company just tenders the bond for cancellation.
So but the abatement of and that's of the personal property.
Correct.
So that's machinery that's being used for the production of goods.
Yes.
So the 10-year tax abatement on personal property they'd use the abated amount to pay the revenue or to pay off the debt on the bonds.
No, the magic, so to speak, of these type of transactions is that the equipment is literally titled in the name of the port, making it tax exempt, and then it is leased back to the company during the abatement period. On paper, during that lease period, the company makes lease payments, which on paper pay off the bonds. The company actually owns the bonds, so it's an offsetting transaction between lease payments and principal and interest on the bonds, so no money actually changes hands. And then this company additionally pays payments in lieu of tax, in this case 20%, in order to achieve the 80% net tax abatement.
Okay. Thank you, Mark.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions for Mr. Spackerman or Mr. Barron and the Winland Foods team? All right. Yeah, and I think that what used to be Idle Grani, excuse me, and now is Winland Foods. It's a kind of a little known but powerful plant that we have on our riverfront, and it's interesting all that they manufacture. Are you able to provide any of the brand names that you do the pasta manufacturing for, Todd or Bob?
Yes, we produce Cream Bet primarily in this area. We also produce Mueller's, Skinner, American Beauty. You will see in this market as well, Prince and San Giorgio are also some of our larger brands. So we are a nationwide distributor of dry pasta products.
Very good.
Mr. Chairman, the
Yes.
Il Grani elevator is now owned by Richardson's. It's a different company than Winland Foods.
Thank you for keeping me from conflating the two. I appreciate that. All right, if there are no other questions for the presenters, then at this time I would entertain a motion to approve Resolution 26 PT 16.
So moved.
Second.
Is there a request for previous?
Yes.
Properly moved and seconded with request for previous roll. Is there any objection to that request? Hearing none, the motion passes and the resolution is approved. Good luck to everyone on this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we go on, did we, Commissioner Liddy, are you going to have to drop off?
He had to drop off, sir.
Oh, he already did?
He had to leave for a 10 o'clock appointment, but he said he was coming back.
Oh, okay. Well, then his name was still on there, so I guess we need to do a roll call vote then.
Yeah.
Because I guess previous roll would be improper if Commissioner Liddy were not present.
Okay.
So, correct, Mr. Morrow?
Correct.
Okay. So then let's correct this while it's in front of us and do a roll call vote on Resolution 26 PT 16 at this time.
Alderman Cone, Alderman Cone,
Jane, you're muted.
See? Oh, here it is.
I thought I was still on camera. All sorry. I
thank you. Commissioner Jackson,
Aye.
Commissioner Kay,
Aye.
Commissioner Liddy, Commissioner Mason,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Chairman McBride.
And the motion passes with all those present voting aye. All right. We will take up Resolution 26 PT 17 relating to a lease between the City of St. Louis and the Port Authority for a sublease to well, it says SCF Lewis and Clark terminals, but I believe that's been updated. But I'll let Susan clarify everything.
Okay, so what you see in the center of the picture is the Municipal River Terminal. In 2015, it was leased to SCF Lewis and Clark Terminals, and they started expanding rail service there. SCF was indeed bought out by Ingram, but I believe the legal entity is still SCF Lewis and Clark Terminals. So I'm going to use Ingram because it's shorter. So the Municipal River Terminal was leased to SCF, and they, as I said, they started expanding rail. Also leased to now Ingram is the sort of triangle or quadrilateral, whatever it is in the center, the number 5 Clinton, which is a warehouse on the dry side of the flood wall. And then to the south is a grain facility. You can see the barges in the river where that's a Tyler Street grain facility. So those 3 parcels are leased to SCF Lewis and Clark, doing business as Ingram. And Ingram has continued to expand rail significantly at that site, and is Dan, are you on? Are you able to show your slides?
Yes, I'm on.
Okay. With us is Dan Lester with Ingram, and I was going to ask him to, Mr. Chairman, if I could, to describe the rail. They've really greatly expanded upon what SCF started. So, Mr. Chair, can Dan address the commission?
Please, yeah, Mr. Lester, if you would give us some more context to this, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to get my screen going here. Let me know if that comes through and make sure.
It did. It's there.
Okay. All right, good. So appreciate the opportunity to give an update. I believe about a year ago, I sat in front of most of y'all and talked about this expansion that we're looking at the Municipal River Terminal to drive growth to the St. Louis area. And so I'm going to show you a little update, what's transpired over the last 14 months or so. And then that'll provide some context, I think, to everybody on what Susan's putting forward. So we'll keep going here. Let's see, make sure this works. So with the rail expansion that we had originally proposed, SCF, previous to the Ingram acquisition, had started doing some expansion within the Municipal River Terminal. And since then, we've had some additional opportunities. And so we have made a much larger expansion to MRT, and that's going to be all in total about 11,000 linear feet that we're adding to this site. And so for some context, that's about 200, ability to add roughly 200 rail cars to the site as it sits today. And so what you see here is a couple of different rail lines, and it's not the greatest picture, but it gives you an idea. And so what happened was the yellow lines you see here, that's what was previously existing at the facility. Most of this was done prior to our ownership with SCF. And then what we have done is we've come in and added additional trackage in the red. And then again, we've rehabilitated and added additional trackage in the orange. We're doing a project right now to replace a floodgate that is going to allow us to have access to the north end and create kind of this long contiguous, essentially rail loop that is going to allow us to do a couple of different things that we hadn't been able to do previously. First and foremost, if you're familiar with this area, we have a crossing and block crossing issue that constantly comes up. And what we're doing here is we are actually adding an additional mainline connection to the terminal. Terminals are certain carrier, and that's going to allow us to clear primarily where Gunther Salt is, that block crossing issue, move our trains down to the elevated bridge and bring them actually in south to north. So we've worked with the terminal. The terminal's been phenomenal on that. They've approved our drawings, our designs, et cetera. So we've had a fair amount of success there and continue to move that forward. Within the facility, this is just some updates here, but I'll go to pictures because pictures really kind of show what's happened. So when we started this project, I believe I kind of gave this update, I think it was in December of 24, that we were going to do this expansion project at the facility. We were going to add a new material handling system, new rail expansion, and really drive growth to the terminal. And so as we've gone through this process, we've gotten through the construction. As you can see in these pictures here, we've completed the project. And so I'm going to just kind of walk you through what's happening, what that's doing for MRT, from a job creation, from a commercial activity, and just overall economic benefit with this. And so what you can see here is this is kind of some construction sequence project photos, but there was the new system, and I've got some more details here, and that's going to be unloading fertilizer. This is a fully enclosed fertilizer system. So from the time that the commodity drops into our hopper until it's loaded in the rail car, you don't see it. There's no emissions, there's no dust, there's no spillage. So it's a highly efficient, environmentally compliant system. Our old system was good, but not as good as this. In addition to that, like I said, we added this track in here, and the way that we added the track in, you can see we whip back in, added brand new track capable of bringing in additional cars. And one of the unique things we did here is we reinstituted an access point at Floodgate C13, working with the Corps of Engineers and our rail contractor. And that is allowed us to use both our Municipal River Terminal and the Tyler Street Terminal in conjunction with each other. But what it's also done is it's given us the opportunity to bifurcate those facilities from a rail standpoint and create less congestion in the area. So in doing that, we're able to create less congestion inside each facility, but we're also able to bring in additional volume that in turn creates additional wharfage back to the Port Authority. Just in the time we have completed this project, January of this year was our completion date. Through the end of March, we've seen a 52% increase in our volume. So as we've kind of put back out when we initially started this project that it was going to increase our volume, doing that, we've added 8 additional jobs, and we have put about 15 million into the ground here at the MRT. Here's a little bit more detail of what we put in. So if you go down there today, just south of the warehouse, this is what you'll see. This is our material handling system control room. But going from an open mechanical conveying system to a fully enclosed system, you can see here that our rail loading towers are closed. So that spout goes all the way down into the rail car. So you don't have additional dust, you don't have fugitive emissions, you don't have that coming out like we previously would have encountered in the past. As I mentioned, pretty good picture there we've got of the excavator dropping into the hopper. And then from that point forward, we're in a fully enclosed system all the way through. These FRP covers are actually over it when we're fully operating and running through. And in doing that, what we've been able to do is, again, understanding kind of where we're at with our EPA attainment, and understanding working with MoDNR on like the Branch Street Air Monitor and trying to keep compliance. You know, fugitive emissions is an issue in the area. And so these are the steps that, you know, we said we were going to take previously. And this is what you're looking at that we have completed in January now is running an MRT consistently. And then that's a shameless plug for our new locomotive we put in. We added that in. And so again, if you run a locomotive, you have to add people. They don't run by themselves. People are trying to do that, but again, we've added, I believe I mentioned 12 to 15 new jobs. We're at 8 now, going to 12 with the additional volume. And then as we continue to pursue our rail expansions throughout the area, we will have additional volume that will bring additional opportunities for bringing new teammates and associates into MRT and Tyler Street and working together. Susan?
Dan, if I could add, when SCF started the lease in 2015, their employee number was about 8 to 10, and you're now up to total for that facility about 50. Is that right?
52, I believe. And that is across MRT. We've instituted a night shift at MRT that we didn't have previously. We have been able to bring in, and to SCF's credit previously, you know, they did grow that business, and then we've been able to add additional growth to it. But it's good growth. It's all of the commodities we handle are typically used within a 250-mile radius of St. Louis. Most of our steel actually stays in St. Louis. A lot of our fertilizer goes to Missouri, Illinois, some into Iowa. And then what you see is as we've been able to improve our operations, improve our efficiency through these facility developments that y'all supported when we presented this in 24, that's creating more demand and more opportunity, which is what's driven us to this point with Susan on how do we, create this optimal lease structure and design to continue to build on some of the success we've had so far.
And Dan, can you speak to unit trains? Or just to we've talked about that at other meetings in which you've not been present, but I want to make sure that we do touch base on that.
Sure. So unit trains are 85 to 100 car trains that move in a single group from one point to another. The railroads typically like to do those because they don't have to stop in between points. And so what they do is they create a very efficient mechanism to transport a large amount of a single commodity. So for us here, similar to our barge line, if you look at a barge tow moving up and down the river, we try to put as many barges together on a boat of commodities and move them from one point to another. With the unit trains, as customer demand increases, they want to use those trains because our customers are incentivized by the railroads due to timing, efficiency, and really cost per ton because it's more economical to use those. But the catch is that you have to have the space, you have to have the facilities, and you have to have the people to be able to efficiently handle a unit train, not only economically, but safely, and also get it turned around to not create congestion. So what we did at MRT specifically with the rail expansions that we've done currently, and then what we're continuing to do is by adding the rail, we have been able to create a facility that is able to bring a unit train entirely inside it. So that keeps us away from the Market Street crossing, that keeps us away from tying up north towards Branch Street, north of Branch Street. And it allows us to, within MRT, to be able to bring a train into another train into our Tyler Street facility while still having movement inside MRT, which in turn creates less congestion for the terminal because they bring us our trains and take our trains. And so it's kind of this domino or sequencing effect where by us adding capacity and creating opportunity in MRT, the terminal has been able to move some stuff around and eliminate some of that congestion kind of through that main corridor where you have the terminal and the BNSF and others in that area.
Outstanding. Thank you. And I just want to comment that SCF and now Ingram have been just great partners with the port, have helped modernize and increase the volume at the municipal river terminal. And it's one of the busiest inland ports in the United States. Any questions for the commissioners on this resolution?
Mr. Chair, there's more to the resolution.
There's more to the resolution.
Yes.
Then Susan, proceed, please.
Okay, so the municipal river terminal is here. And to the south is the Tyler Grain Street facility with the conveyor over the flood wall. And to the west is number 5 Clinton. It's a warehouse that is on the dry side of the flood wall. So if the waters come up, Ingram has the option to get stuff out of harm's way. So SCF, now Ingram, has had this lease for a while. And because Ingram is investing heavily in this, they requested a new lease that would start with 25 up to 25 years on it. And so the existing lease, as I said, comprises the Tyler Street to the south, the municipal river terminal itself, and then number 5 Clinton. And Ingram would like to add some parcels that are currently not leased to anybody, city-owned parcels, that across which their rail track is currently running. We gave them a permit. And so the new lease would incorporate the 5 parcels, and the rates would go up. They would include a tonnage rate that would, as the tonnage rate goes up, or volume goes up, the rate drops. And the idea is to help Ingram give better rates to their customers. We still would get the royalty from the tonnage. It would just be tiered to the different volumes. And then in addition, we would tier we'd have 3 levels of rent for the square footage. The square footage is, for example, so in front of the warehouse, we recently paved that with a state grant, and the paving allows for better movement of goods. You can move different goods more efficiently. And some of the MRT, Municipal River Terminal, is not paved, and so you have to move kind of less valuable goods. It's harder to pick them up off dirt and gravel, and so that would be a lower rate. And then where the track runs along the vacant ground, it's just empty lots, and so that would be the lowest tonnage rate. Currently, the lease for those 3 components, 3 leaseholds, Tyler, the Municipal River Terminal, and number 5 Clinton, are $716,000 a year. All 3 of them together would add up to about $1 million a year. So their rate would go up, and we would continue to have the tonnage royalty in addition. The tonnage volume would generate additional revenue. So the request before you is to amalgamate those parcels. And also the structure of the current Municipal River Terminal lease, the Port Authority leases that for $1 a year from the city and then subleases to Ingram. And we do that, it enables us to spend state money. The state grants require port authorities to have control of the property over which you're doing your project. And if by leasing from the city, that it labels us as the controlling entity, and then we can sublease. Tyler Street down here is a more traditional city tenant lease, whereby the tenant leases directly from the city. And so the Port Authority, quote unquote, doesn't control that property. So we can't spend grant money there. And the same for number 5 Clinton. It has a more traditional lease, and we couldn't spend grant money there. So what we've, by virtue of combining all these, we would like to then go back to the city, lease them all for $1, and then turn around and sublease all 5 of them. So there's 2 parts to this resolution. One, well, it's really asking your approval to, your authorization to start a new 25-year lease with Ingram. And we're also asking to allow us to lease from the city. So we would lease from the city and sublease to Ingram. So the proposal before you is to authorize us to lease the 5 parcels from the city and then turn around and sublease them to Ingram.
Very good. Any questions for Susan from the commissioners?
Very thorough presentation, Susan.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. No, this is good. This is good for the city, and thanks again to Ingram for all the work they put in. And Mr. Lester, how many tons of product do you expect that they'll be moving through the MRT this next calendar year, or this calendar year, 2026?
I think this year will be close to 750, 800,000.
Okay.
And then I believe within 3 years, both contractually and market based, we're going to be somewhere in the 900,000. So putting it in context, I think maybe 10 years ago we were sub 350.
Right.
Again,
outstanding.
And this is where, again, being from St. Louis, this is really cool for me to be able to do this and see the success. So we just appreciate the partnership with the Port Authority and the city.
Absolutely. Commissioner Liddy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Quick question for Mr. Lester. Actually, maybe for Susan, is there any more expansion available along the riverfront, or is it all, are you kind of like now boxed in and can't grow?
I can answer that. The city owns about 2/3 of the land along the riverfront. Most of it's built out, and we've pretty much leased everything available. We did have 2 leases that we obtained recently, and they fell apart for various kind of geographical or geological reasons. But really, there's a project that's coming up shortly for the city South Refuse, which sits on 11.6 acres. And we'd like to clear that site, so that would free up some prime riverfront land for a new lease. But at the moment, it's pretty much it's such a built out city. As far as Ingram is concerned at this site, there's really no place for them to expand. Dan, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think also we're good where we sit with the improvements we've done in MRT, and then what we have under construction at Tyler Street with the full rehabilitation through the build grant. We're creating the option for a lot of additional capacity. So basically use what we have and add more volume to it to create additional growth. So yes, we are boxed in, but I think we're in a pretty good spot where we're at.
Is there any chance that you would be able to expand across the river in a competitor, Illinois? Or is just too much flooded area over there? Or
there's a lot of challenges with some of the kind of Susan mentioned geological on the Illinois side as well. That makes it tough to do, which is why you haven't seen much other than grain elevators over there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Recognize Director Jackson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I listened to Susan share that there's a project underway with City South Refuse. That would not be our South Refuse operation, would it? And if it is, what is the plan to assist that particular operation in finding a new home? Because we have been vigorously attempting to relocate that particular operation without much luck. And to hear this now as part of this presentation prompts me to ask the question, what do we intend to do about that? Because we did have a plan in place for us to relocate that operation, but that fell through when the lease for the bus operation was extended for another 5 years. So now we're investing significant funds into rehabilitating that particular facility. So when you say South Refuse, are you speaking to or about the city's South Refuse operation, where our container operation and large portions of our bulk operation come out of? And if so, what is the plan to assist us to find a new home for that particular operation?
We have found a new home, and it's coming up in a couple of resolutions. So we'll get there in about 5 minutes. Okay.
Oh, very, very good. Well, I'm certainly glad to hear about it now. And I will share with you that we scurried around to find $2 million to conduct renovations on that facility because we were not aware that we had a new home. And I would love to, place a hold on those on those projects so that we can utilize those funds elsewhere. So I eagerly await this upcoming or this forthcoming resolution.
Okay.
Susan, can I just ask, can we kind of cover that before we take a vote on this particular resolution? It's very concerning. I've been a pretty vocal person when it comes to the South Transfer Station and all these other issues. And so this is actually quite alarming that you all aren't communicating with one another, particularly with the head of the streets department about these things.
Alderman, we've been having project meetings about this South Refuse project for several years now, when the prior street director attended, and Director Jackson, you've been to several of the meetings. So this is the project that you've been attending meetings about for about 5 or 6 months. And if you will just let me get to that project, I can explain it and you can have all your questions answered then. We're not kicking anybody out. We're building a new trash transfer building. That's what's coming before you in the resolution that's a few resolutions down the list.
Okay, thank you for that clarification because Alderman, to your question, all that I had learned up to this point spoke to the transfer station. It did not speak to the container operation, which is the one that has my primary focus at this point.
No, I appreciate that. And I just want to make sure that, we as a commission or the Port Authority, have a holistic picture of where things stand before we start taking up individual votes on each of these resolutions as well. So.
Okay.
Alderman, would you like the presentation on the, which resolution is it? Susan, refresh my memory real quick.
It's resolution, no.
That all relates to something.
It's resolution 18. Starting at resolution 18. So we're currently on resolution 50.
No, we're not.
Excuse me.
We're on 17.
I didn't turn my page.
Yeah.
So it's the next resolution.
Right, Mr. Chair, we have about 4 resolutions relating to the South Riverfront redevelopment project, which includes the South Refuse Transfer Station. Those are all coming up after this resolution.
Very good. Alderman, is okay to, do you prefer that they brief us on the others and then we come back and vote on them, or what would you like as far as informational purposes, so that you can intelligently vote on these matters?
They're all related. I think if they're all related, that we should have a general brief in terms of what's happening, what's going on, and then we can take up each of.
They're not related. The South Refuse is not related to the Municipal River Terminal. They're totally different projects. Ingram is North Riverfront, and South Refuse is South Riverfront. I mean, and Ingram is not involved.
Yeah, that was my understanding as well, that 17 was separate from 18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
Yes, it is separate.
Just geographically. But
well,
I also want to make sure that I also want to make sure everybody is able to vote with all the information they have at hand. So irrespective of whether, it's North Riverfront or South Riverfront, if the alderman wants to have an overview of the other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 resolutions, I don't have a strong issue with that. I just think that they may not be as tied as closely as
if they're separate from the South Transfer and South Side Station, then that's fine. I'm mostly concerned. Well, that's fine if you want to proceed with taking up each individually.
Yeah, I think the next 5 deal with the same geographical area where this is north of the arch.
I had a question about today's timing. I'm not sure whose idea it was to put so many resolutions in one agenda, but our 2 lobbyists have been extremely patient. Should we suggest that be pushed to the next meeting? This is the longest meeting I've ever attended, and I've been on this group since 2018.
Yeah, sometimes we do that. And there's another. Can I take that question immediately? Can we vote on this resolution, Commissioner Kay? And then I do want to address that precise issue as well.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions or comments on resolution 26 PT 17? Okay, then at this time I'd entertain a motion to approve resolution 26 PT 17.
So moved.
Second.
Probably moved and seconded. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Alderman Cone,
Aye.
Commissioner Jackson,
Aye.
Commissioner Kay,
Aye.
Commissioner Liddy,
Aye.
Commissioner Mason,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Chairman McBride.
Aye. And the motion passes and the resolution is approved. All right. Commissioner Kay, I do want to take this opportunity to deviate from the agenda a little bit. We have, if you can see on our screen, President and CEO of the SLDC, Stephen Westbrooks. And I understand that he has a 10:30 meeting. It is 10:40 right now, and he is hanging out. Want to make sure that he had the opportunity to have a brief introduction to the commissioners here, and that we were able to welcome him virtually to our meetings. So, Stephen, I think you just gave your wave of your hand earlier, but if you could, if you have anything you wanted to address the commissioners at this time.
Well, thank you, and thank you for this opportunity. I certainly don't want to stand in the way of the discussion of the South Refuge Station, but suffice it to say that I have a lot of respect for this commission and your experience, and I look forward to working with each one of you. I look forward to hopefully having a chance to meet with each one of you in person very soon. I have over a decade or more of experience in community and economic development. I will admit that that did not include any work on the port. And so this area is going to be a bit of a learning curve for me, but I can tell that we have great leadership and a great team supporting this work. So I feel like I'm in good hands in terms of quickly climbing that learning curve. So looking forward to continuing our work together.
Thank you, Stephen. We're excited to have you here at the SLDC.
Thank you.
All right. And then I believe Commissioner Kay had a well-taken observation that we do have our two lobbyists. His one avenue would be to cut you loose, or another avenue would be to continue to deviate from our agenda. And if you wanted to give a brief overview of your efforts, that might be a good use of the time as well. Mr. Johnson?
I'm sorry, could I request that the lobbyists come back for the next session, next Port Commission meeting, and give their quarterly reports at the next meeting?
At the next meeting? I have no issue with that. I don't believe, if any commissioner has an issue with that, just let me know right now. Okay, thank you all. And then Ms. Barget, Mr. Johnson, we appreciate your time. I think we've got 5 more resolutions, and if you could come back at our next meeting, we'd much appreciate it.
Glad to do it. Thank you.
We will.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
I appreciate it. Thanks for understanding. All right. Thank you. Thank you all. And thank you, Commissioner Kay, for the observation. And at this time, we'll get back to our order of agenda and take up Resolution 26 PT 18, Community Project Budget Funding Request to Congressman Bell.
Chris left. Congressman Bell is able to request funding for projects in his district, and so he requested a community project fund be written into the federal budget, and that was indeed accomplished. And so we have $250,000 in federal funds available for the South Riverfront Redevelopment Project, which concerns the South Refuse. And this is a project that's run through U.S. Treasury, so that our funding agreement will be with the U.S. Treasury. And the resolution before you is requesting approval to accept that money and apply it to the South Riverfront Redevelopment Project.
Very good. I think that's always straightforward whenever we're receiving money. Any questions from Susan on this resolution? Commissioner Liddy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Did you say this is a grant from the Treasury, from the federal government?
Yes, it's a grant and there's no matching requirement.
Great. Okay, thank you.
All right. If there are no further questions, I entertain a motion to approve Resolution 26 PT 18.
So moved.
Second.
Is there a request for previous?
Request for previous roll.
Previous roll.
All right. It's been properly moved and seconded with request for previous roll. Is there any objection to that request? Hearing none, the motion passes and the resolution is approved. Let's take up resolution 26 PT 19 relating to a line of credit for the South Riverfront Development Project. Susan?
Sure. What you see on the screen is the existing trash transfer complex. So it used to be an incinerator. So these are the two smokestacks. This is the incinerator itself. This is a trash transfer building, and this is the former maintenance shed. And there's a Union Pacific track here, and then this vegetation is growing up a bluff, basically. So what's up here is 50 feet higher. It's out of the floodplain, and this is Interstate 55. And the purpose of this, the goal of this project is, or of this resolution, is to secure funding for the project to build. This is a trash transfer building, and the goal is to build a new one up here so that the city can have a much more efficient trash transfer operation, get it out of the floodplain, move the trash more quickly through it. And then there would be some associated spaces. There'd be a citizen drop-off up here, a new one. Citizen drop-off is down here currently. There'd be an admin building. Staff is currently in the abandoned, not being maintained incinerator. Some of the staff are in the former maintenance shed. And the entrance would be off Gasconade. So the city trucks would come in, come around, dump, come to this site, back in, dump trash into a waiting Republic truck that would be below the floor. Public trucks then would exit and go out Gasconade. So that's the overall project, and the total. So we are looking for funding for this, and we've already received about $4 million in state grants, capital improvement grants. We have those. We've also received about $4 million in state ARPA capital improvement grants. We have that. And we have the 250 in the community project funding that Congressman Bell secured for us. The Port Authority has about 1.2 million in lease revenue available for this. The prior project at the Municipal River Terminal, that lease will start July 1st, and the tenant Ingram will pay the first year's rent up front. And we will apply that towards this project. It's about 860 grand. And so what's the last piece of financing we need for this to build the trash transfer building and its associated buildings and site improvements? We need the $2.1 million line of credit with Busey Bank. And so the request before you is to, we can't get the line of credit until we have your approval to seek it. So the question or the resolution before you is to allow us to seek that line of credit and then apply it to this project. So this is a funding request for this project.
Very good. So this is the resolution that we were discussing previously.
It's the first of several, okay?
The first of several. Director Jackson, do you have any questions on this? I want to start off with you, since this affects you directly. Any questions or comments on this resolution?
No, sir, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the other commissioners on 26 PT 19? Commissioner Liddy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Susan, is there any reason we can't go to the city and borrow money from them for this? And I have to worry about a line of credit, or how? Or just kind of curious about that.
I'm sorry, Kevin, I didn't go to the city for what?
We're trying to seek a line of credit from Busey Bank. Why can't we just, quote, borrow from the city the funds versus going to a bank?
What city entity would we borrow from?
The city of St. Louis, I would think. Yeah. I don't know. You tell me.
Oh, word.
I'm not aware of a city bank or a city fund that we can borrow from. We'd have to borrow anyway. So, I mean, a line of credit is a form of borrowing.
Okay. Do you know what the interest rate would be?
No, I don't. But we can come back to you and tell you.
Okay, I assume probably market rate.
Typically, they have been in the past, Commissioner Liddy.
What are we gonna do with the old transfer station? Will that be leased out to somebody or turn into a public park or something? Cause you said it's in a flood zone, so I'm just wondering what we're gonna do with that.
The existing trash transfer building sits on the former incinerator site. So you're not gonna, which is covered with ash. The ash has heavy metals.
All right.
And so you wouldn't want to put a park there, but several years from now, when we are able to clear the site, that would be the 11.6 acres of riverfront land that we can then develop a port lease. That is several years down the road because it'll take some time to build a new trash transfer building. And so that's ultimately the goal is to create a new port there.
Okay. Well, this is looking further down the line. Would we require remediation of the soil and everything from all these heavy metals and all that from Army Corps of Engineers or something? Or what were we thinking ahead? What are we going to do?
No, we did the engineer for the project, part of their scope of work was to do an environmental phase 1 on this area, the riverfront site. And the heavy metals are not bad enough to glow in the dark, so that you can remove them, and it's not the really bad hazardous waste, but it's special, so-called special waste. And because this will become an industrial facility, the standards aren't as high. So like if you were to put a playground there, you'd have a lot of you wouldn't want to do that. There'd be too many hoops to jump through.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Liddy. Any other questions from the commissioners?
I have a question. You said you wanted to get a financing through Busey Bank. If a commissioner has a relationship with Busey Bank for whatever reason, would that be a conflict of interest?
I think it depends somewhat on the relationship, but out of an abundance of caution, they may want to abstain from the vote.
Okay, so we do have a relationship with Busey Bank. So we're not voting on it right now. It's just that you want to vote on it to say we want to take this to Busey Bank. Is that correct? Am I understanding that correctly?
We want to obtain the line of credit and then apply it to this project.
Right. Okay.
This authorizes the port to secure that line of credit of 2.1 million from Busey.
Okay.
So
if we have a relationship with Busey Bank. It may be small. It's our mortgage, but I'm just wondering, should we? Abstain?
If you're a customer, is different than if you're a shareholder. Right. But I'll let
if
Mr. Morrow speak.
No, if you're a customer, that's different. If you had a relationship with management of the entity, or as the chair mentioned, were a shareholder, had some other financial interest in Busey, then it would be appropriate to recuse. But if you just hold a loan from them, that's
right. Okay, yeah, all right. I just wanted to check.
Thank you, Commissioner. Always good. Any other questions on this resolution? Then at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 26 PT 19.
So moved.
Second.
Is there a request for previous roll?
Roll call.
All right, properly moved and seconded with the request for previous roll. Is there any objection to that request? Hearing none, the motion passes and resolution is approved. All right, now we'll take up Resolution 26 PT 20 relating to negotiations with, is it Sissel Mueller Construction? For Sissel Mueller Construction.
Yes, so the project, I'm waiting for the picture to come back up. The project at hand, we went out for bid to build a new trash transfer building at no cost to the city. And so as I said, here's the existing trash transfer building and a new one will be built up here. The construction it's going to take about a year and a half. So it's fairly far in the future before anybody would have to move. And we went out for bid. We got 5 bids. They were all, the lowest 3 were really close. And the selection committee, the Port Authority Selection Committee, met and deemed Cecil Muller, I think he says it, as the lowest, most responsive bid. And the funding for it is what I outlined in the previous resolution. It's in your packet. We repeated it. And so there we have, as you can see, the bids were close. We got a cost estimate from our engineer a year ago of a little over 11. And so everything's kind of gone up. But the engineer reviewed the bid and they felt it was a good bid, quite met all the requirements. And so the funding total will cover the cost of that bid. The funding that I outlined, the $4 million in state grants, the 4 capital improvement grants, the $4 million in ARPA, the 250 community project funding from Congressman Bell, the Port Authority cash, the 860 grand about from the first year's rent to the municipal river terminal from Ingram, and then the $2.1 million line of credit adds up to about $12.6 million. Their bid, there was an arithmetical error, and so the value of their bid is about $572,484. So the MoDOT manages the flow, and so they have to sign off on the bid. They have the bid. We're waiting to hear back from them before we start contract negotiations. But the resolution before you is to allow us to accept the bid and finalize a construction contract.
Okay. Any questions for Susan on this resolution?
Out of curiosity, how many tons of trash move through this area? I mean, I'm assuming that once you rebuild it, there'll be more, but currently, does anyone know?
Director Jackson, I don't know that off the top of my head. I can find out, but
No, we have anywhere from between 40 and 42 vehicles going through that that transfer station on a daily basis. Each one of those vehicles can pack out at about 20 tons. So you're looking at about 400 tons a day.
And that's just from the metropolitan St. Louis area. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. That's city, strictly city.
And I should add, the new layout is going to be about 4 times as efficient. What you have here is kind of one truck at a time, dumps their stuff. The hole in the floor is bigger than the truck below it, so trash spills, so staff has to stop and clean it up. And the new trash transfer building, you can get 4 to 6 trucks in there. You can get 2 Republic's trucks underneath. The hole is smaller than the Republic truck, so you won't have the spilled trash that staff have to deal with. So this will be really 4 times more efficient, which should translate into less overtime for trash personnel, less time cleaning up, and more revenue available then that can be used by the street department at this facility.
Yeah, I would add further. Susan is all over. She's on target with her additional features that this new facility would provide. For us, it's going to also reduce or eliminate, it's going to heighten the safety factor from the standpoint of our personnel having to get out and move around within the structure as they come in to offload. That's a major concern for us, as is the traffic backup, which occasionally occurs whenever there's a breakdown or something with the equipment challenges we're having. So we're looking forward to the new facility.
And how did you dispose of the ash?
The ash it's kind of just there. It doesn't get disposed of now because it's not being generated new. With the ash that's there is from, it's been there since the late 80s when the city switched from incineration to going to landfills. So it's just been sitting there. And if we build anything several years hence there, the ash would probably be compacted and you just pave over it. There's just out of the side of this picture, there's a warehouse, and it used to be part of this overall site. And the warehouse, in order to be built, had to compress about 8 feet worth of ash to support the new warehouse. And we may or may not do something there. The idea is to put the site out for bid and let the market tell us what the market wants. The market may want another warehouse. They may want a rail spur off Union Pacific. They may want a new dock, but and anything they want would be funded by grants that the Port Authority would apply for and the tenant would pay the match for. So this new facility up here is at no cost to the city.
That's good to hear.
Thank you. Commissioner Liddy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Susan, what other large construction projects has this company done in the city?
The construction company has 4 or 5 different kind of subsets of projects. I think they did a warehouse in the city. I can't answer that directly. I can get back to you, but there's a project manager here at SLDC who's very familiar with them and says they do good quality work. But I don't know their project portfolio, but I can get back to you to let you know. They've got a wide variety of public and private customers for which they've built large projects.
Okay, because I've never seen your name on anything around town. That's why I'm just kind of curious if are they local or are they out of state or what?
No, they're they're local. They're based in St. Peters.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Then at this time, I'd entertain a motion to approve resolution 26 PT 20.
So moved, requesting previous roll call.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded, and I appreciate the request for previous roll, but we appear to have lost Alderman Hone, so we will need to do one roll call vote to reestablish the roll from which we will then previous. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Alderman Cone. Commissioner Jackson.
Aye.
Commissioner Kay.
Aye.
Commissioner Liddy.
Aye.
Commissioner Mason.
Aye.
Commissioner Miller.
Aye.
Chairman McBride.
Aye. And the motion passes and the resolution is approved. All right, let's take up resolution 26 PT 21, approving exchange of state-owned land for an access road to the property. Susan.
This is part of the same project. As soon as the picture comes up, I'll show you. Bear with us here. There it is. Next one. Next one.
There you go. That's it.
Okay. Okay. Can you do exhibit A first, please? With the aerial photograph. Okay. This is another view of the same project. You're looking south. This is Interstate 55 on the right and the river's on the left. And the trash transfer building is here. And the vacant ground on which we'll build the new one is up here. And as you can see, there's some ground here that's an embankment to the highway. MoDOT comes in and needs to cut the grass periodically. And so if you go to the next slide, please. Wait, hold on. Sorry. The access to this high ground is off Gasconade, which is right here. So one comes in this road here and winds through the forest and gets to this empty ground, and there's a gate right here through which MoDOT's lawnmowers travel to cut the grass on the embankment. And that ground is under the project, and so we didn't want MoDOT owning property under the new South Refuse Trash Transfer Complex. So we worked out a deal whereby they would swap that land for the use of this road, which is city property, and MoDOT has to travel across it. So they initially wanted us to buy this land, and we said, no, let's just exchange your use of this land, this road, for us having this property as being part of the South Refuse project. Can you go to the next one, please? So the picture shows, this is Gasconade, this is the highway. And what this does is allows the state to drive across this blue city property, across formerly red MoDOT property that they're going to give to us to be used under the South Refuse project. So the resolution before you is we're asking to approve the exchange of state-owned land for an easement to them to use the city road.
Very good. Anything else on this resolution, Susan?
No.
All right. Any questions for Susan on resolution 26 PT 21? Commissioner Liddy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can you go back to Exhibit A, please?
Sure. The picture?
Yes. So kind of right in the middle, there's a big, ugly sign. Is that going to be gone when they do the new transfer station? Yeah, that one. The big, Bill. Yeah, is that going to go away or is that going to stay?
That beautiful highway sign will remain. The pole is anchored in the ground, and the project goes around the pole.
Oh.
So we don't mess with the pole. Oh. It's not ours. It
is ugly. Too bad we can't get rid of it. But anyway, thank you.
It's not ours.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to approve resolution 26 PT 21.
So move. Request for previous roll call, I believe is applicable.
Second.
It is properly moved and seconded with a request for a previous roll. Is there any objection to that request? Hearing none, motion passes and the rest. What's that?
Nothing, Mr. Chair. Sorry.
Then the resolution is approved. Now we'll take up the next resolution, 26 PT 22, for our Port Authority budget. Let's see, is Charlie Hahn going to walk us through that?
I should let Susan do this.
I'm out of water, Charlie. Get some.
Mr. Chairman, this is a resolution that we do annually. And it's usually the first one done. The other agencies will follow suit, we hope in May. But this resolution, the port has 3 accounts at the city, and one is the Port Development Fund, which is basically everything except the municipal terminal. And you heard a lot about the municipal terminal, but the other leases are collected in the Port Development Fund, and that is part of the overall city lease, which is going to the Board of Estimate and Apportionment later this month, maybe next week. I had already sent the budget to Paul Payne to be included. So I wanted to preface what I'm going to say with that first. And this is not unusual. They need it earlier. The exhibits are Exhibit A, which is the Port Development Fund, and then Exhibit B, which are the Improve Our Fund and the Municipal Terminal Fund. There's a lot of numbers, but I'll try to get through them rather quickly because I know we're pushing the clock here. The 3 columns represent the current budget. the projected activity in the current year and the projected budget for the next year, which begins July 1 and ends June 30th of 27, same as the cities. In the Port Development Fund, which is Exhibit A, the Port District leases are, the budget this year is 2.527 million. We're budgeting 2,415,000. Slightly lower, and you probably have questions as to why, since rates are going up and stuff. But earlier today, you approved moving two leases that are currently in this budget over to the port terminal budget. Still port money, it's just sitting in a different place. The port terminal account reflects the increase, and it's left pocket, right pocket. So the rollover is the center column where we're projecting activity for the current year of 1,163,000 rollover into the 27 budget for a total of 3,578,000. Our expenses are the city internal services, which are basically everything except the street department, and that's 25,000. Professional services of 230,000. The wharf cleaning, which is the street contribution we make to the street department, of 300,000. Port District infrastructure, I need to kind of explain that. There's 400 this year and 800 next year. This is the 1.2 million Susan referred to in her previous resolution, talking about sources of funds to pay the contract for the South Refuge site. I have a contingency of 100,000, and then the SLDC administration 1.5 this year, 2 million next year, and total expenses of 3,000,004 versus revenue of 3,000,005, and a carryover of 123 to next year. I'll run over the next page, and then if anybody has any questions, I'll try to answer them. On page 2, there's a double line in the middle. The top portion is our Improved Wharf Fund, which collects the parking revenue at the foot of the arch, actually on the cobblestone area. The budget for this year was 125. We're only expecting to collect about 50,000, and I put 50,000 for next year also. We had a prior year carryover of 629 this year. We're expecting 679 next year. We're anticipating using 400,000 of that. I actually hope to pay the street department out of that budget, since they do a lot of the work down on that riverfront, and now this parking account can handle the payment there, and maybe start on the cobblestone repair project that is also needed down there, or a combination of both. The below the double line, you see the municipal terminal account. The lease income is budgeted at 400,000, and the royalty of 200 this year. Next year is 800 and 250, and we'll see. I really don't know how the royalty, again, is the tonnage that moves through the dock in our portion of that. This is where the federal grants and federal state grants flow through, which Susan also referred to. It got 8 million this year and 4 million next year. And program other, which is the match for those grants. The expense side shows interest, and our interest continues to dwindle under our existing loan with Boosie Bank. That's why we selected Boosie as our potential finance bank for the line of credit that she referred to. This interest relates to the money that the port borrowed to do work in the terminal itself. So this will be probably the same security for the bank and just a different type of structure. I have a meeting set up week after next, talk to Busey Bank, and we'll get back to you on that. The depreciation is the cost of grants that we've made into the terminal itself. 800,000 last year, 800 this year. We have public improvements are the mainly the South Refuge and other things. 10 million this year, 5 million next year. And the last item is other more routine repair stuff of I have 120,000 budgeted for that. The to convert the non-cash depreciation to cash, I subtracted out capital expenditures, which don't show up at 500,000. Added non-cash, that's a depreciation of 800, and subtracted loan principal payments of 280 to get to a rollover potential of $1,085,000 from 27 to 28. And I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Charlie. Any questions for Charlie on the port budget? It looks healthy and in good order. Thank you for all your hard work, Charlie. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we looked at negative numbers about 10 years ago, so I'm glad
I recall. This is a much better improvement. And thanks, Susan, for increasing the leases, which helps the fiscal health of the Port Authority. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 26 PT 22.
So moved, requesting previous roll call.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. The previous roll requested. Is there any objection to that request? Hearing none, the motion passes and the resolution is approved. Thank you, Charlie. All right, here on open agenda, I think that we are going to just, unless there's anything pressing, I think we've handled everything at open agenda. Looks like the staff agrees. Our next meeting is May 14. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We've concluded everything on our agenda. We are adjourned. Thank you all for your time and thank the staff for all their hard work.
Yes, I want to kudos.
Thanks again.
Great job, staff. You guys did a wonderful job today. Susan, especially you.
Thank you.
Very good. Take care, everyone.
Bye.